Good day everyone, I am Ray Marlon Francisco Group number 5 and I will be your guide on finding out the difference among CD-ROMs, recordable CDs, rewritable CDs, DVD-ROMs, recordable DVDs, and rewritable DVDs. And to start, we're going to discuss about CD-ROMs. CD-ROM stands for Computer Disk Read-Only Memory. The CD-ROM in all of its non-erasable, non-rewritable glory existed long before it infiltrated our system with its youthful promise of infinite information. ROM stands for Read-Only Memory. It cannot be altered or erased. Binary data that is encoded on a little pits on the optical disc are read by the laser beams which are situated in the optical reader. A CD-ROM is an optical disc that has the capacity to store data, music files, video files, and games. CD-ROM's advantages are it can access randomly. It is most cost-effective way to produce and distribute large quantities of data. Compared to other storage disks, a CD-ROM is very rugged. It is long-lasting. It is a secure medium for storing large amounts of read-only information. Its disadvantages are the biggest complaint is that they are relatively slow. Once it is filled up with data, new data cannot be entered on it. Smaller storage capacity than hard disks. It can be easily scratched, and after the scratches, it won't work properly. Now let's proceed to CDR. CDR stands for Compact Disc Recordable. It is a digital optical disc storage format which introduced in 1988. CDR is such type of compact disc that can be written only once. It can be read many times. It is made of reflective metal disc with a layer of green or opaque bye on top. It is a blank CD in which data can be stored once, and after storing data, it is converted into CD-ROM. CDR discs can be read by most plain CD readers. It can also be read by CD readers manufactured prior to the introduction of CDR. Its advantages are it is less costly. It can be read by any CD player. But the disadvantages are seek time in CDR is low. Data degrades with time. And lastly, data cannot be written over in CDR. The next one is CDRW, which stands for Compact Disc Rewritable. It is digital optical disc storage format introduced in 1997. It provided further competition to the various super floppy alternatives. Ideal use is for test disks, temporary backups, and as a middle ground between online and offline storage schemes. A CDRW does not have as great difference in reflectivity as a press CD or a CDR. And so many earlier CD audio players cannot read CDRW discs, although most later CD audio players and standalone DVD players can. Its advantages is that it can be easily erased and reused. When used with packet writing software like Frosho Direct CD or Nero Ink CD, you can access the CDRW like any other drive in Windows. And lastly is it often plays on DVD players that won't play in CDR. And its disadvantages are it's more expensive than CDR, slower burning speed, and lastly, many CD players, especially older ones, won't read CDRWs. Here are some differences between CDR and CDRW. CDR is made of reflective metal disc with layer of dye on top, while CDRW is also made of reflective metal disc but it has special metal on top. In CDR, data can be stored only once in CDR. But in CDRW, data can be stored multiple times in it. In CDR, it cannot be erased, while CDRW, it can be erased. And after storing data, it is converted into CDR-ROM in CDR, while in CDRW, even after storing data, it is CDRW itself. And now we have here is a DVD-ROM. DVD-ROM stands for Digital Versatile Disc Read-Only Memory. A read-only DVD is used to store the files permanently which cannot be changed, write over, or erased. We can use DVD-ROM for allotment of large applications which increase the size of a CD-ROM disk. Through DVD-RAM and DVD-ROM drives, we can read easily in computers, but typically not in DVD drives that connect with the TVs and home theater systems. We can store around 4.38 GB of data in DVD-ROM, but CD-ROM only stores 650 MB of data. A typical DVD-ROM can hold up to 17 GB of data if both sides of the disk are writable. Here are some advantages of a DVD-ROM. It can be used to transfer the files to anyone. We can save the entire image using the software, and we can buy the rest of the blank DVDs from anywhere. While its disadvantages are, it is a poor choice when you are storing data for an ongoing project that you'll need to change on a regular basis. You can face issues with some programs with the drive since DVD-ROM for compatibility issue, for it is relatively new technology. DVDs are vulnerable to scratching, break-in, and unwrapping when stored improperly. And now we have here is the DVD-R, which stands for Digital Versatile Disc Recordable. DVD-R is 120mm in diameter and 1.3mm in thickness, comprising two polycarbonate substrates of 0.6mm each. DVD-R can be used to record data. Once DVD-R has been written to, it cannot be written to again. Data is written to on disk by a laser. DVD recordable uses dye to store the data. During the burning of a single bit, the laser's intensity affects the reflective properties of the burned dye. By varying the laser intensity quickly, high-density data is written in tracks. Some of its advantages is that it can be used to store a large amount of data. It is available in different storage sizes to increase flexibility. And its disadvantages are, it can be written to only once. DVD-R is not able to locate data by byte accuracy. And lastly, high failure to read the chances due to differences in the reflective properties of dye. And lastly, we have the DVD-RW, which stands for Digital Versatile Disc Rewritable. And it is the same as DVD-R, but the only difference is that it can be erased and written again and again like a pen drive. The data are stored in digital form. It is a part of optical storage device, and it can store any kind of digital data such as video, audio, images, multimedia programs, or any other software, and there is no restriction in a file format. Data are read and written to this disk by a laser nearly about 1,000 times. Some advantages of DVD-RW. It can be erased and recorded many times like a pen drive. Cost is lower than higher storage capacity. The quality of sound and pictures stored in it is excellent. And some of disadvantages are storage capacity is not as good as DVD-R, and it only comes with 4.7 GB of storage. It doesn't fully support HD TV quality while playing through DVD player. Here are some differences between DVD-R and DVD-RW. It can store 4.7 GB on single-layer, single-sided discs, and 8.5 GB on dual-layer disc and 9.4 GB on double-sided discs. While DVD-RW, it can only store 4.7 GB of data. DVD-R can be written only once, while DVD-RW can be written multiple times. And that's it, and we hope that you have learned and got something from it. Thank you!